So they get teed up just for a little context for the board. I serve as the liaison to the LADCP, and I just want to give them a big compliment that that they get complimented a lot. Public Health took over the liaison or leadership role a while back, and they've just done a great job. Miranda before, and now Catherine. And so just
thank you.
Very good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm Jennifer Little from Clemens County Public Health, and this is Catherine Duarte, also from Public Health. And yeah, thank you so much to the board for giving us 5 minutes to just give you a little bit of background of where we've been and where we're going in the LADPC. And so, as Commissioner Minty mentioned, in 2022, we took over the oversight of the LADPC from Corrections. And it took us a little bit of time, but we, in 2023, finalized a bunch of policies, procedures, understanding the ORSs and the funding that comes and how it must be spent and all that kind of stuff. So we're in a really good place. We also decided to build a grant out program to get the money into the community. And so we created a standardized application and review process that it seems to be going really well. And so on that note, since 2023, when we took over, we've awarded about $50,000 worth of projects to local, regional, statewide entities, but all of the services happen here in Klamath. In February of 2024, we hosted our first Understanding Trauma Summit, and it got rave reviews. We had over 300 people participate in that, and everybody said, when are we doing it again? And so then we did do another one in April of this year. And also in January of 2025 this year, the LADPC was awarded its first incoming grant from Cascade Health Alliance, which it's really exciting and really expanded how much we've been able to do with this committee. And so we were awarded $60,000, which also happens to align with some of the work happening with the Behavioral Health Community Health Improvement Plan priority area. So if you hear of the CHA and the CHIP is the Community Health Improvement Plan, and this aligns with the access to care work that's happening. So it really added capacity, which is exciting. And then just where we are going from here is obviously we are continuing all of our granting projects. We also are aligning our strategic plan with the state ADPC strategic plan. So I know Commissioner Minty is on that work group, and there was listening sessions. And so Catherine and I took that information to our board and said, okay, here's the state priorities. How can we align our local priorities? So we are being very strategic. As part of that grant program that I mentioned from Cascade Health Alliance called SHARE, we so far have trained, we have 5 community health workers signed up for training. We've supported over 70 peer support specialists through trainings that we have paid for through KBBH, and we've had over 50 folks trained in mental health first aid. And from all different sectors, it's been really cool to see that go forward. We also are putting out public service announcements through the La Patrona, the Spanish radio station, and that's going well. And like I said, we simply continue to fund local projects for prevention, treatment, and recovery. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the ADPC? LADPC.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thanks. Good update. Thank you for being proactive about doing it.
Fine.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you make it look so.
All right. Next item on our agenda, 7.1, road disposal contract discussion. We have the solid waste director here.
Well, I had some concerns, and you guys kind of probably already know what they are, but anyway, lack of time for just going out for an RFP right now. And these guys are online with everything as well. Steph happens to be sick yesterday, today, but last Friday we started working on the RFP and the contract, reviewing the contract and working on the RFP to get the slots filled. And she sent all that information to all of us. She's working at home, even though she's sick. So
Of course, yeah, she emailed me yesterday.
So anyway, I can go down through these things. You know what? I'm going to, just so you know. Obviously, the first point I have is it was a very, very poorly presented rate increase. And so I had since talked to Lauren about it. He said the whole trip home, it was a talk with Brady about presentation skills and don't threaten, you know, because that's a very poor way to go about, but no, it did not. But you definitely got their attention. So, and so he requested from you guys, Haley got a hold of us, and he would like to have a second shot at least saying something, admittedly that we screwed up. Can we do this? Because we've been working with you for a long time. We would like to finish out our contract and so forth. And my staff, my concerns, being I'm staff, is short notice as the current contract expires on the 30th, and we don't have enough time. Our last time that we went out for RFP, we actually had a 6-month period that we could do it in, and it was, you know, I mean, you guys, at least you were involved. I'm sure you're very familiar with this type of thing. You can't just go like that. They can walk away. That's what's spooky about how this is playing the clock out. Well, anyway, so the short notice and the DEQ permit changes for the new contractor, those changes don't happen right away with DEQ either. And now they went paperless and you can't access their sites very well. They're still working on that. Adequate time to procure the transport, trucking, or rail, whichever we're going to do. Tingly staffing, because I've already talked to Gary and the other 3 guys, and they won't work for anybody but Rogue. I'll just put it that way. And so I thought, well, that's sort of, you know, anyway. Disposal location identified and secured, and I don't know how far that goes. If they can legally say, yeah, you can bring it here, but it's going to cost what we think we got to have.
Sure.
Procurement of equipment. At least we have to replace the 315 excavator, and you have to have a trash grapple. It's a totally different. We don't even have grapples on ours. We got thumb and buckets and stuff. The 938 front end loader, recycle boxes, and a genie lift and their service truck. There's a lot of equipment over there. And I think the only thing is the tote goat that's actually ours down the yard, and they don't use that anymore because they have Bettendorf trucking. DEQ site reports, permits, holding tank just came in, so I'm taking care of that. But, you know, ops plan, maintenance plan, those are all required through the DEQ permit. And then secure recycle source and transport operations. So with all that being said, my point being is I'd like to give them a shot to come in. I know it's kind of raw with you guys, and see if they're willing to be more reasonable. And at least, I mean, the clocks ran out anyway. Another week or whatever isn't going to matter. Okay.
So is the board, let's check the temperature of the board. Is the board supportive of giving this entity another opportunity to come in front of the board?
I know.
I'll say yes, but I guess I have a question in contracts, solid waste, everybody. With process and structure, how can we set ourselves so we're not in this position where they're coming in on the tail end, making these demands, and our backs are against the wall? Is there a better process we could put in place moving forward so we don't end up with a gun to our head making a decision?
You know, that's a good point, because right now, the way the contract's written, they don't have a specific time on a renewal. Now, if you're gonna, you know, have a new contract, yes. But we didn't ever dream that they'd run the clock out and then, like you said, hurl these ridiculous things. I mean, that's not the way people do. We've done business with them for a long time, and this is we've had 2 renewals with them, and then we've never had this. And I don't know what company has changed. They've sold to Waste Connections. Maybe that's a change. I don't know.
Okay.
And-
What would the board like to offer? I don't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
you're
What
good.
would the board like to offer as direction?
So I
Or
think
less.
there's 3 things. one, sure, they can come in and make another pitch if they want to. I think that it's always a good idea to listen to what everybody has to say. That being said, they've hired a consultant. Their consultants called me this morning and reiterated a lot of the same stuff that we heard in this room last time they were here. So that made me real happy. Basically tried to point out the gun that we are under and how it only gets worse if we make it better. So that made me thrilled that they went ahead and hired somebody to restate the BS that they spewed in here last time they were here. And I'll say that on the record because I don't care. I also think that prior to them getting here, we need to have a plan B, because if it goes sideways, we need somebody in there, at least on a 1-year basis. I give somebody a 1-year contract to do the work until we can complete the RFP for something that's more sustainable. So those are the things that I would like to see before they get here.
And I'm sorry they sent you that I wasn't privy to that.
I just got the call a couple hours ago.
That's still not cool. And
Yeah,
So from a legal
hire
Yeah,
somebody
I
that
was
would
just
know
gonna
me.
ask Leslie, if we had to do an RFP, is that something you could help them put together to expedite it?
I mean, for the most part, yes, other than scope of work, I don't have any background in that.
we're not even concerned about that. It's more about, getting somebody in there.
So here's the big question. If we needed something on an emergency basis, right, because this contract ends at the end of the year,
Yes.
and we hire somebody for a short-term basis while we're doing the RFP,
You do have to go at it at an emergency basis and go through the process, hire somebody. You all three have to approve it on an emergency basis. It doesn't have a very long timeline with an emergency basis. So you might get 6 months out of it, but I don't know if you can make it.
6 months is enough to get an RFP.
Yes, it is.
Because
And that, I think that would be your emergency basis timeline, is your 6 months, so that you can commit to the 60-day RFP process and the evaluation, getting somebody in there. Will this use something out?
And we have that process in front of us ready to go next week.
I'm not concerned. The RFP is, we send it out. They send back, it's the, going back and forth with
I
the
mean, the
questions.
emergency, so that we can have somebody under an emergency contract.
I would
on January.
gladly.
Yes.
So,
You just need the scope of work to do that.
Yep.
Is the biggest.
which we could probably pull off at the last contract, yes.
So, remember with the fire issue, there was a lot of back and forth with that contract because there was things missing that should have probably been in there and things that weren't. So I would want to be, we could pull the majority of it, yes, from
Okay.
yes, but we want to be.
I don't want to be here next week with a gun pointed to my head
Mhm.
without one to pull back out.
Do you have other companies that provide the service phone that you can talk to?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been.
So
I
for
mean, I'm
on
not-
an
it's-
emergency basis, you're basically issuing a quote to a couple different companies that you know of, bringing the quote back, hey, this is emergency, we need to get it done, 6-month time frame. Here you go.
And how fast can we approve something like that from someone? Because we're only gonna have 2 weeks.
It would be a push, but we could probably get it in a 2-week time.
And I've been providing already what I can do legally, and that's providing contract, providing tonnage, providing what they're doing right now, providing the equipment that's needed.
Because what I feel like is happening is drawn out.
Oh, I know.
And I don't want to be the bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me get a temperature from the full board. How would be your approach?
The other thing is, in the event they come in next week and we can forward with an amendment, changing or extending the contract, you can change the clauses in the contract as well. Section whatever that says they have to give this much notice to any fees, prior to the termination or something like that. You can add all those clauses into your amendment as well.
I would like that cleaned up as we move forward, but a question, I guess, too, would be, and if I was them, I'd probably say no, but can they be that short term? Are they interested? they want to do.
Well, I thought they
6
were,
months.
but since your phone call, I think they're still playing foul.
So what direction do we want to give, and or Leslie?
I agree with Commissioner Drew that I would like another option. So our back's not completely.
Okay, so it sounds like what I'm hearing from the board is we want to direct staff to work on a sort of an emergency clause, temporary process, while we also work on issuing an RFP and also give them the opportunity to come in and make one last pitch next week. Am I capturing the desire of the board in those three things?
So
Do you all understand that direction?
as far down that emergency road as we can get, as soon as we can get, would be
Yeah.
appreciated, so we're not fully ready.
So moving on, are you good?
Thanks.
I am. I just appreciate your input because that was a little light that doesn't turn me on a whole lot. I thought we had a good, honest thing going on, but
Yeah,
Maybe it'll get it.
I'll call you later.
yep, thanks.
All right, so next on the agenda, thank you, Tom, is the, just a real quick one. The board will recall a couple weeks ago, we amended and updated the IGA for SCOED. And there was a request by Lake County. I don't have to really explain it too heartily, but Lake County would like it changed back from elected officials to elected commissioners. If I recall, part of that change was that we do now have a city councilor on SCOED, so the thought was maybe it could have a little broader language. But Lake County felt like it was pretty important for it to say elected commissioner, so I feel like that's fine. So I would move that we amend the language in the IGA with SCOED from elected officials to elected commissioners.
Sorry.
Right, we have a motion for our consideration. Any other discussion?
Abstain.
All in favor, signify with
Aye.
aye. As well, so that motion passes. Okay, next up is brain trust implementation and the Permidium agreement that are kind of together. Yeah, Marcio, come on up. You're gonna be leave us here. I'm gonna kick us off. She's there. So the board will recall last week we had the Animal Brain Trust, ABT, come in and provide a full menu, if you will, of recommendations. And I mentioned in that meeting that I thought we needed to be very intentional about implementation and structure of the implementation because I thought it was going to be way too heavy a lift for current animal control staff to do that. So I wanted to bring back the idea of perhaps hiring a consultant or a temp or someone to help lead the implementation. Short term, this would be a short term assignment, but also it sort of dovetails into, we recently had the Permidian contract come to us. We know On the Verge and Harmony are doing some work on the technology side. So the two conversations to me kind of go together, but they're also sort of separate of, do we want to set up an implementation plan? And also, what do we want to do on the technology side? Because it's still outstanding, the issue related to the Permidian. No, I think you covered it. Well, and I can say, I'll jump in from my opinion is that I think we should be looking for, if we went ahead with Permidian, which I understand why animal control wants to do that, but we've already engaged Harmony. There's still Shelter Boss, which we'll have for at least a little while. And then there's even still a feature or two that we wouldn't have even with all those solutions. Right. So our hope was, to me, if we're trying to streamline things, especially streamline using technology, it doesn't make sense to me to be like bringing on multiple new technological solutions. So I would like us to hit a huge pause on Permidian and look for a technological solution that really could kind of do everything that we want to do to be more efficient. To me, that's like number one, and then the rest of the recommendation.
Always good with pause, especially if it's.
Yeah, come on. Can you explain Harmony to me? Is that a credit card processor?
Oh,
No.
It's an artificial intelligence program that we're building that's on-prem. It's going to
Okay.
be a device that lives in the IT room, and it'll actually query information, gather it, sort it. It'll go through emails. It'll also be part of phone calls, but it's an artificial intelligence.
So who's the credit card processor? Because Promidium was gonna do the credit card process.
There's a fee as well.
Yeah. Well,
So
not
there's
only
a lot
that, but
How we collect the
yeah,
dog license fee.
Right now, it's going through shelter
FIS.
costs.
I just want to make sure we're not agreeing to add another third-party processor
Right.
because I'm
Yeah.
to hear with those.
Yeah.
I've been
And
going through.
Promidium is expensive and we have to, they have to bond themselves.
We, Stephen, Matthew, Ben, myself, Andrew, have been going through a lot of your guys' process. And there's so many redundancies that I think we can be able to cut down on, and it'll save time, money, energy for all of us. But I think the biggest thing is like our decision to move either from Shelter Boss to Promidium or stay with Shelter Boss until we get a little bit further with this Harmony project so that we can move forward. Otherwise, it's just we have to wait until Promidium gets launched before we can even install Harmony to help. So I'm just, no problem. Thank you so much.
Are you hitting a pause on spending money? So,
The board, didn't the board already approve Promidium or something?
No,
We did.
no, you tabled it.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I would be supportive of continuing to table it and work through this process. And I wouldn't say a complete pause on spending money because there will be some implementation. I'm supportive.
Yeah, so that's the second part. So I mean, it sounds like there's agreement that let's put Promidium on the shelf. Let's let this part work through that. Again, the issue has been, we have not yet quite landed on a solution that fills all our needs. So what are our needs? Our needs are helping on the public information side, i.e. sort of a chat bot, if you will, that can answer basic questions to reduce staffing time. Our needs are tracking calls. That's very important. Our needs are the payment processing. That's very important. So we have needs and have not quite landed on one solution that does everything. So I would like us to wait and find that. So secondly, so it sounds like we're all in agreement, table Promidium.
I do want to,
Sure.
in case somebody from the SO is listening, Promidium, we're not saying no.
No.
We're just saying right now.
Yeah. Pause.
Because there's too many things happening at once.
Exactly. We don't want
what
to
they're
have.
also using for.
Concealed
Concealed
carry,
carries.
yeah.
Which they're not, I mean, and we'll talk more with the sheriff, but I think there are some still problems with Promidium on their side too, that they're not addressing, but it scratches a little bit of the itch. So there's all this other stuff they're paying for though, that they're not getting any use.
And there was one feature that we really was important to us. Maybe it was the call tracking that we had asked Promidium and they said, oh, maybe we'll add it someday.
Yeah.
I don't know this company. I just know from being in this chair for more than a decade, every time a company has said to us, oh, maybe we'll add that someday, we've literally never got it, ever. In all this technology we've worked with. So that
So don't say
made
that.
me concerned.
Like, okay.
It's different because we know, but usually it's a company and,
It's about two.
yeah, that's saying that. So secondly, but though on the implementation side, I do think it's important because the recommendations are intended to save us money long-term while still providing a really good service. I would say right now, we get some complaints about service, but man, those people in the office are doing the very best they can and they're doing an amazing Hercules type job. So I think we need to help them out. And feedback after we did the recommendations recently was lots of people in the public are like, this is important. We need to have this staffed correctly. Not that necessarily everyone in the general public knows what that would mean, but I heard a big outcry of, come on, do your job, staff this correctly. So what I think would be really helpful is to set aside either a little bit of funding or tag a task force of current county staff to really intentionally do the implementation.
What existing staff and what's their bandwidth?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm happy to.
I look at poor
I'd be
Haley,
happy
but
to.
I mean, I'm thinking people like Haley, maybe Leslie, I mean,
Steven.
Nah.
I would
maybe
text
Steven, that could just like, but it's gotta be boots on the ground, because part of the recommendation was a serious like development of a volunteer effort. That's gonna take a little time for policy and process and then figuring out the technology piece, which we do have local talent to help us, but there was a whole menu, and it's not, animal control is not, they do not have the bandwidth to do it.
I'm good with that if they have been.
So,
Yes.
so local staff first, and if we don't think we have the bandwidth,
Report back in a month
We
and
can-
let us know where we're at.
Yeah, you know, I'll make it work. Animal control is kind of like my,
your pet
a
project,
little
no
bit.
pun
Yeah,
intended.
pet.
Okay.
You need to task me to help. I've got
Thanks.
Okay,
something.
so the decision is, let's pause per Midian. Let's try to find a technological solution that covers everything. And let's form sort of an internal task force, if you will, to go over and be the implementation team at Animal Control on the recommendations.
Would it be okay to also add a volunteer position to the task force myself?
Bet.
Yeah. And just be a part
Oh,
of it?
I was already including you in my.
Yes,
Yes, please, yes, please, if you would be willing.
I would love that, and I think it'd be really cool to just help be on the ground with some of the solutions that we're already working on, so
Yeah.
it just seems to fit.
Perfect. And at least one of the Brain Trust members, Jill, who was in kind of a leadership role, also said, we're just waiting on you to
Yeah.
like
Tell us.
ask us back, like invite us,
What do you
invite us. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're all in these pet things, I don't know, they're four-legged animals and kind of love.
Just a little.
we're gonna love them
Yeah.
a lot.
Just a little.
All right, so thank you to the board for that. And then finally, the last one we have is a requested letter of support.
Move to sign.
Son.
Okay, so we have a motion and second to sign a letter to Secretary Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation. Hi, Marcio, thank you. Related to the City of Klamath Falls application for better utilizing investments to leverage development grants. All in favor signify with an
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion passes, and we will stand in adjournment to full ball. We really need to.
Yeah.
Went ahead and did it.
You did it, so I'll do it.
Exciting.